Hello, everybody. So this is the video dealing with a different factoring technique called difference of squares. This is topic 5.5, and I've decided to divide it into 3 parts. So we are going to see 5.5a, difference of squares, and I will have another video for the other 2 parts, B and C. Okay, in difference of squares, the format is always ax squared minus by squared, and y could be another variable and x could be different variables. But the key thing is that the sign between the 2 terms has to be negative. Okay, we're going to see a case where if it isn't negative, it's not factored. And it's always going to factor into, if the question is ax squared minus by squared, it would be ax plus by, and the other parentheses is exactly the same as the first, but with the minus in between. Okay, so this is very, very straightforward. We'll do 3 examples and you understand exactly what to do. So the first, and again, the answers are already here for you to see, and I'll work them out for you to know exactly how to do a problem by difference of squares. So the first problem is x squared minus 16. So let's go to the whiteboard. And again, the question is just going to say factor x squared minus 16. It's already in proper format. We always want to put it in proper format. So how do we factor this? So first we have to identify this as difference of squares. How do I identify? So is this difference of squares? So how do I identify something as difference of squares? So first of all, I have to have 2 terms. Okay, I do have 2 terms, x squared and 16. Second, I must have a minus sign between the 2 terms. Yes, I do have a minus sign. So this looks like it's difference of squares. Once you identify as difference of squares, you can immediately open the 2 parentheses. Okay, and you know the contents of both parentheses is going to be exactly the same, with the exception that one, you're going to have a plus in the middle, the other is going to have a minus. So what goes in these positions? Well, this is very easy. I have an x squared here, which is x times x. The first x goes here, the second x goes there. And I have 16 here. So we have to split 16 identically into 2 spots. And how do we do that? Well, later you see that we just take the square root of that number. But for now, I need to find 2 numbers that are identical, whose product is 16. Well, that number is 4. And that's it. This is our first problem. X plus 4, x minus 4. And that's all there is to do when we factor by difference of squares. Let's check. Yes, x minus 4, x plus 4. And keep in mind, it doesn't matter if you put x minus 4 first or x plus 4 first. The answer is still the same. Okay, so that's the first one. Well, what if we have something more complicated like this one? Let's take a look at that one. Pull up a little bit. And we have another factoring problem. The problem is just going to say factor. It's not going to say factor by difference of squares. So we are required to know exactly what technique to use. And we'll go over, all of the techniques together when we get to, the next section. But for now, this is what we have. Again, we have to identify this as difference of squares before we can use the technique. So we have to have 2 terms, we do, and we have to have a minus in the middle, we do. So this looks like difference of squares. So once we identify as difference of squares, you can open the 2 parentheses. We know the 2 terms in the first parentheses will be identical to the 2 terms in the second, with the exception that in one, there's going to be a plus in the middle, and here there's going to be a minus. So now we look at the first term. because I have to break 9x squared so that the terms in the first parentheses match exactly the one in the second, and their product equals exactly 9x squared. So how do we do this? Well, I'm going to do it here. How do I break 9 into two identical numbers whose product is 9? Well, 3 times 3. And how do I break x? Well, we saw that before, x times x. So 3x and 3x. And notice 3x times 3x is 9x squared. You do the exact same thing with 4y squared. And I'm pretty sure by now you already know that 2y times 2y is 4y squared. So the 2y goes here, the 2y goes there. And once you have the two products, you are done. And you could check, again, you can check. I am not going to check it here now, but you can check that this product is exactly equal to that by foiling, right? You can foil and you will get the exact same answer as before. Okay, so difference of squares again. It's very quick and it's very hard to make a mistake on these problems. Now, I want to show you this problem right here. This is an important problem. So again, let's scroll up. We are going to try to factor it again. And let me just write it here. 49x squared plus 36. So at first, as we are ready to identify this as difference of squares, it looks like we have a problem that we can apply difference of squares. Two terms, but we don't have a minus. We have a plus. Even though it looks like difference of squares, it's not. So not difference of squares because there's no minus. So this is, as it is right now, not factorable by difference of square. Yeah, you could try different techniques, but there's no GCF. This is certainly no grouping because I don't have 4 terms. This is not a trinomial because I don't have 3 terms. So it's not factorable. But what if I had this problem right here? 2 terms, and there's a minus in the middle. So yes, this is difference of square. And we can factor. So I'm going to quickly factor this one. Again, we're going to split 49x squared into 7x, right? Because 7x times 7x is 49x squared. One is a plus, the other is a minus. And 2 numbers whose product is 36, but they have to be identical. So positive and negative. Okay, so notice this is factorable. This is not because of the plus sign in the middle. Okay, so this is all there is to do with difference of squares. It's usually 1 or 2 lines at most to do the problem and should not give anybody any issues in this technique.